Hello, this is Chris Phillips with
Inge Srinivasan from Princeton.
Okay. Yeah, we're at the Princeton Junction Public Library.
Yeah.
And Inge kindly arranged for me to come for
Socrates Cafe after 10 years.
Why did you start Socrates Cafe?
Well, I started it because I believe this is the only place where anybody, no age, no background, what you believe, where can you really get your question answered without that you have to have, for instance, if you're a Catholic, if you're a Protestant, if you're a Democrat, it doesn't matter. Every question here in the Socrates Cafe, no background, we know only each other's first name, we don't know what college you graduate or if you graduated, and yet you are just as important as the next door neighbor. Nobody has any priority over you.
Wow.
Or nobody in our cafe can say you're wrong. That word does not exist.
But you've committed to this now for a long time. Why has it meant so much to you?
Well, because I read the book. When I first belonged to a cafe in Princeton, it became a debating society. And then I read the book and I thought, this is something which really we could use here in Princeton Junction. And I had friends from our book group who were so enthusiastic about it. They said, let's do that, let's do that. So we set up rules. And from the day one, we followed the rules. And it has worked for 10 years.
Wow. Because there's a diverse group in there. It's not like it's people who necessarily see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Absolutely not. We have age, we have like 5 different countries. We purposely don't try to know what each one knows, but I know we have 3 doctors and 2 lawyers.
Wow.
And we also have people, I don't know if they even got the high school diploma.
And do you think it has just something like this, a gathering like this, has an impact on democracy?
I actually believe if this country would have in every town, in every small or bigger town, more than one, it would help every single person. And I don't think we would have the president which we have right now. I honestly believe in that.
But what is it about these kinds of gatherings that are transformative? You told me about one dialogue that you had on the death penalty.
Right.
And tell me about that again.
Well, when we voted for the death, we put the question up, and 10 questions, and that question was all on our mind because New Jersey had to vote on the death penalty. And when it came up, people said, oh, Inge, we know exactly how we'll vote. And I said, well, why don't we get to know each other, what people think about it? We meet usually from 7 till 9. Well, at 9 o'clock, people came over and I got so many emails. 60% of the people said they had changed their mind.
And why? What was the circumstance? What were the circumstances?
Simply because you can only think what you think and how you think about it. I don't know how the next person and the next person and the next person. And I think we were with 15 people, which is the perfect number as far as I'm concerned. When you get all the different opinions, you actually start to realize, am I really 100% sure how I'm going to vote? But in no other setting, you get either bombarded with a reason, but these are people who do this because they honestly believe that they want to come and give their, and we also know it stays in the room.
Right.
It doesn't get outside. I don't talk to you about it.
But it's one thing that they listened to one another carefully on something as sensitive as that topic, but that transformative aspect, where they actually change their views without having to. I mean, that's a little magical.
No, I think you hit on a very important point, without having to, because in the school we get taught what we are supposed to believe. If you're a Democrat, you only listen to the Democrat Party. If you're a Republican, they don't listen to each other. Here you are not asked. We're not going to come to any kind of consensus. This is really just you're listening and then you take it home. So I was surprised when I got all this email and said, you know, I really changed my mind, Inge. That was a very good evening. So I think it is because nobody asked you. You do it yourself. It's not that, you know, you have to write an essay because your professor asked you, or when you're a Democrat, you have to be doing this, or a Republican, whatever it is. This is just listening, and then there's no pressure. It's really yourself. You yourself. And I think I'm such a great, I mean, like I told you, I went to cancer. I'm such a great believer in this, that the grassroots, when nobody forces you to change your mind, you learn yourself that you can change your mind.
That's beautifully put.
And I think that's the key of it.
Well, thank you so much for your commitment to Socrates Cafe.
Well, I thank you. You are our heroes. I don't know how. You heard Raja and we talking when we both read the book. We were just said, this is what we have to do.
That makes all the pain worthwhile.
Oh, it does.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. That's all. I'll probably break that into